Let's change the way you think about emotional sobriety. I heard this phrase today on Impact Theory, another podcast that is excellent, super informative. You get tons of my little gold nuggets from this podcast. I love it. This one was Lisa Bilyeu's episode. She's the host. Her husband also hosts. Okay, so emotional sobriety. Whenever you think of the word sobriety, a lot of times you're going to think of impaired judgment, whether it's from alcohol or drugs or, your addiction. But you can also think of being sober in your demeanor. A lot of people take that as, just being really grounded. You're a sober person. You're sobering. You're somber even. So when you think about emotional sobriety, in order to have that sober, level, grounded, emotional wellness, that means there is an opposite to that. So you could take that as emotional impairment, emotional drunkenness, emotional high. Whatever impairment you are having with whatever substance you are choosing to use, there is an impairment. It's the opposite of being sober. Okay? So whenever we think about our emotions, your emotions are triggered literally by a chemical wash that your brain bathes in that produces emotions. We all hear of the main ones: dopamine, cortisol. Cortisol is bad, dopamine's good. You could be getting just as much dopamine from chocolate as you do cocaine. It's just a chemical reaction that your brain is getting a little bathed in. It causes a flare-up of emotion. Okay. So the same dopamine is used for alcohol as is used for your emotional life, your emotional health. It's all the same. You don't have to have an outside element being introduced in order to have the chemical reaction in your brain that causes impairment. So when we're going to think about our emotional health and our emotional life, we want to keep in mind that you can choose, sometimes you can become in a habit of being somber enough to choose whether you're going to come out of your impaired state or stay angry, in the emotion, sad. I'm not saying that chemical depression and anxiety are always a choice, but I am saying the habits that you have gotten yourself into and the triggers that you've allowed to stick to you that put you into that state can, with lots of practice and work, it's not easy, but they can be altered and recognized so that you're at least not in the impaired emotional state as often. You could absolutely be an emotional person. That is you as a being. You might have your big highs and your big lows. But if you remember the video about balance, the big highs and the big lows are able to balance out to being a healthy person, as well as the small highs and the small lows. You could be just a really energetic person, and that's okay. You could be an anxious person, and that's okay. That can be your personality. If it's causing you distress and it's causing you to think, I need to get a handle on this, I feel out of control, then you should start taking steps to practice the habit of becoming emotionally sober. For a person that is in the habit and is an addict to being emotionally impaired, you may have to treat yourself just like an alcohol addiction and do a 12-step program, do your emotional work on yourself, and you may find that you call yourself in your brain, you don't have to say it out loud to anybody else, but you think of yourself as an emotional addict forever. Just the same way an addict that goes to AA recognizes they will always be an addict. You can think of yourself that way. And that's not a bad thing to think of yourself as. You are recognizing and being sober about your reality, who you are in the very deepest of you. It's okay to be honest about that. You have to choose whether you're going to put the work in. If you find it is distressing enough to you or those around you, or you find that it's something that you want to choose to work on, you put the work into you, because that is the least selfish thing that you can do, is put the work into you. You get to choose whether you're going to be an emotional addict or not by putting the work in. Sometimes we simply have crosses to bear. It can be your cross to bear, to be an anxious or depressed or super energetic person. It could be just your cross to bear. And that's not a bad thing either. You get to turn your cross, your story, your testimony into what inspires you to help other people. That's what it's for. Your cross can be your greatest gift, but not when it's out of control, and not when you don't have the emotional sobriety. You just can't help other people when you don't have a handle on you. But think about it. Think about how sober you feel emotionally throughout the day. Think about how many times you feel really super worked up and what those emotions that you're allowing yourself to ruminate on cause outside of your brain. Does it cause, anxiety at work? Does it cause fights? Does it cause tumultuous relationships? Does it cause irritation with your family? Does it cause, does it cause you to stay in bed and miss out on life? What is the thoughts that you're not keeping under control causing outside of your brain? Those are the reasons why you need to fix it. I love you very, very much. Have a great day. I hope it was a little nugget. I'll see you later. Hey, you made it to the end. Be sure and click on the next video to keep the party going. And don't forget to subscribe.